Salam alaikum, kif halek, kaifakum shlonek, shalom, merhaba, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste, privyet, bonjour, buongiorno, saludos, hola dag haj barev yak shemash, je suis Ali, Ana Alex. I am the CEO and founder of Orca Oshi Capital Management. Shout out to my partner Ronnie, BTS, behind the scenes, necessary, and I am an electronic dance music DJ. America, $500 billion lost in the household due to a $3 trillion stock wipeout. Ironically, real estate's gone a little bit up though, in value only, being that the demand for a mortgage is sitting at a 22-year low. The luxury real estate market's down about 17%. And just to put in perspective why this fucking matters, is these are people that have access to private credit, lending, call a bestie, and whatnot. And by the bestie, I mean the bestie who stupidly turns in their taxes to Forbes, because we all know the very, very intelligent billionaires don't do that, but the ones who do, whatever, you get my drift. If they can't call up their homies that are on Forbes and say, can I get some help? That should be a big bellwether, something's off. And just to address something, I keep seeing the 30-year fixed rate for mortgages go in between 5.3 to 5.7, pending where I look. So I'm not sure, but I want to make this very clear. That's for people that have good credit. So if you have an 820 credit score, you're solid for that 5%. But if not, you are going to have to get more than likely an adjustable rate mortgage. And what that means is you're essentially starting with less and then paying a hell of a lot more as the Fed Reserve begins to hike rates. And not begins, but this week, next week, whatever week, because time is very fluid to me. I believe in Einstein's time stance in relation to fluidity. I'm one of those people. You have people that are schedule people and then people that are just 24/7, 365. I'm one of those. Hence why I think I like the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency digital asset market and Forex market, because the world is never closed, and nor is Bitcoin, which is still trading linear to tech stocks. Speaking of tech, Larry Ellison is stepping down off the Tesla board. Let me tell you, this man is my inspiration. I think Oracle is extraordinary. To the best of my knowledge, Amazon still uses Oracle. So shout out to Larry, the daddy of all daddies, Ellison, especially for getting off Tesla in a very precarious time as such. So being that I've not taken my Adderall, as you all know, we're going to be all over the place. Evergrande, as they said, they're getting creative to figure out ways to pay back bondholders. But one of the bondholders straight up said, I'm not getting my money back. And this was a U.S. denominated bondholder. So I can only wonder what the second largest real estate developer not paying the dollar back owed is doing. And I wonder what the 401ks look like that are probably about 201ks now, being that some of the best performing or most secure stocks, I suppose, from Zoom to Netflix. Netflix had sanctions put on them by Russia, by the way. Fun fact. So did BlackRock. Larry Fink is not losing sleep, okay? When someone is worth or has $13 trillion of assets under management, he ain't losing no sleep. I think Delta got sanctions from Russia too. Ruble still looks to be performing well. And the digital yuan, of course, due to the Ukrainian-Russian war, is just absolutely thriving. So, yikes. Central bank digital currency, Jamaica, I believe, was the first country to go ahead and roll theirs out. 19 out of 20 of the G20 countries have a CBDC. I've been saying we have 5 currencies identifying as one reserve: the yen, the yuan, the pound, the euro, and the dollar. And the digital yuan is already up and running, and America is still cheering for Johnny Depp and wondering what the Kardashians are doing, I guess. I have no fucking clue. But nonetheless, they have no idea. And by they, I mean, I ask people what the Federal Reserve is, and if I hear any more luxury branded degreed people talk about the Fed and printing the money, again, investment bankers, please fire those people. They obviously don't know anything about the repo markets. They know nothing about SOMA, clearly from the New York Fed, where all the assets are being held. And again, please take my advice when it comes to shrinking the balance sheet for mortgage-backed securities, being that the Fed's already in a first quarter loss. Consider trading corporate debt or bonds with really secure banks. I know the Fed Reserve started the Basel III for credit risk, but moreover, I believe June 23rd, don't quote me, they're going to come out with the stress test, which essentially is going to show people, and by the way, I'm not special. This shit's on their website, you all. Just go on the website and read for yourself. But the stress test essentially is going to see what banks will be able to lend and remain afloat with assets, etc., in a really, really shitty economic time, aka recession, depression, whatever technical term you want to use. I know many people are triggered by that word. I'm so sorry to hate to break it to you, but speaking of trigger terms, let's talk about Taiwan and China and how Australia says that the Chinese military is highly stacked since World War II. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by that because this is Australia, and I'm not sure, as a Jew, the Australians' involvement in World War II. I'm not. Nonetheless, they seem to keep it real. But scary shit, right? Because everyone stopped talking about Taiwan. I kept talking about semiconductors. But China's modern day Mao has no problem popping off at the lip about war with China. And by the way, here's the Grey Goose travel size. Cheers. L'chaim. Nastarovia. Saludos. But non ne parle de fils de Saint-Esprit pour les jeunes dans Amérique parce que buy now, pay later, never really understood the purpose of it, but Affirm, one of the credit, I want to say call them credit securitization. I'm sure I'm miswording it. Apple jumped into the scene and caused Affirm and one other company to go ahead and go shoom, because believe it or not, buy now, pay later is not even regulated or a good idea to begin with. But Apple jumping in kind of jacked up that market a bit. And let's see, we have 3 banks in China from last summer, JP Morgan, Goldman, and I want to say Citi, correct me if I'm wrong, being approved to practice banking ideology. And by ideology, I mean they were approved for different banking activities in China. What did everyone know, and how did everyone know to prepare sooner? Mr. Jamie Dimon, why? What's good? I would love to meet with him, you guys. He's so brilliant. But Fed Reserve's going to hike rates next week. I am going to say 0.5 basis points. Everyone seems to be freaking out. Barclays, and I love Barclays. I always give a caveat to Barclays for OnlyFans, being that they have a loose tie, if you will, to the foundation or beginning of it. Person resigned, nonetheless. Barclays seems to think 0.75, and then some people don't seem to think at all. But then there's the majority of my generation that doesn't even know what interest rates are and has credit card debt out the ass. I want to say consumer revolving debt's about 1.1 trillion, but who cares, right? Because, well, sports. $22 billion in late fees for utilities. America's Steve Jobs to no jobs. The layoffs definitely are coming. Stitch Fix, some designer fashion company. And as you all can see, I like my own fashion. I like to be my own brand. They laid off 330 employees. I know, as we spoke about, Amazon shrinking some of their locations. So what is that saying? And let me know what you all think in the C section down below. Je t'aime, te amo, bisu, besu, bachi, ana habek. I love you. Alex out.